In the life of Pi, the themes of isolation and solitude are explored on several occasions, with there being multiple layers and levels to the recurring themes. These themes are best shown through the protagonist, Pi Patel. Hello and welcome to LitJourney, our, our weekly vlog where we discuss topics around novels of your choosing. All right, so let's get started off with some of the ways these key themes are explored and addressed in the book. Let's start off with our first topic here, physical isolation. So, being stranded in the Pacific Ocean, it's very obvious that Pi was physically isolated from the rest of society for a good amount of time, with the book even stating that it was 227 days to be exact between July and February. So, Pi had to adapt and get used to being alone. The vastness of the ocean served as a symbol for Pai's isolation and his survival, depending on his ability to survive and adapt to his physical surroundings in isolation. Next, we have his psychological isolation. Now, this part is interesting just because psychological isolation in this sense exists because of how Pi was alone on the boat with nobody else, and that can lead to a greater sense of isolation than just physical isolation. What makes this interesting is seeing how the little Indian boy is always in a state of psychological warfare in a way. His fear of the 450-pound Bengal tiger by the name of Richard Parker on the boat and his survival instincts seem to often be in conflict with his need for companionship. Next on the list, we have the spiritual implications of his isolation and loneliness. So, as a very spiritual and religious person, we see Pi exploring various spiritual and religious practices throughout his journey. This creates a sort of spiritual solitude which allows Pi to form an even deeper connection to the faiths and religions he follows by tuning out all the distractions and outside noise and focusing on what's truly important to him. As he continues reflecting on his faith and beliefs, we see him kind of form an even deeper connection to his religion while also maintaining a bit of mental sanity. Fourth on the list, we have his human connection. So Pai's memories of his family and the human world he left behind help contribute to the theme of isolation and loneliness. He experiences a profound sense of loss and longing for human connection while being stranded at sea. From what we can see, his recollection of his family and childhood and the conversation he's had with God are his coping mechanisms and way of staying emotionally connected to the world. And lastly, we have his storytelling. So, one of the central elements around the novel is the idea that there are two sides to every story. The one Pai tells to the Japanese investigators, and the one he tells to the reader. The choice to tell a fantastical story involving animals instead of the gruesome reality of the situation on the lifeboat can be seen as a way to cope with his isolation and trauma. It also serves as a metaphorical and narrative exploration of how people construct stories to deal with loneliness. It was all a construct of the mind. The theme of survival and resilience in the face of adversity remains relevant in the modern world. Many people face personal and global challenges, and Pai's journey on the lifeboat serves as a symbol of human endurance and perseverance, as well as the will to survive. In 2023, people continue to draw inspiration from stories like Pai's when facing their own hardships. Moving on, we have isolation and solitude. So the themes of isolation, solitude, and coping mechanisms in Life of Pi can resonate with people who have experienced isolation due to events such as the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as just depression and among other things. The novel provides insights into how people can cope with isolation and the importance of mental resilience. Overall, The Life of Pi continues to be a very thought provoking and meaningful work of literature. that addresses a lot of universal themes and human experiences, making it relevant to the modern world and society in 2023. Its exploration of survival, faith, storytelling, and the human connection with nature resonates with a lot of readers in their concerns and challenges in their personal lives. Isolation and solitude are key themes in the novel as they explore the human capacity for survival and adaptation while coping with solitude physically, emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. The novel overall did an excellent job of inquiring about the human need for companionship, storytelling, and the complexities of human nature when placed in extreme circumstances. Thank you guys for tuning in for this episode of Lit Journey, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.